Good morning, everybody. First, let me tell you what a Convention and Visitors Bureau is. It's basically a trade association. It's not a city agency or city government or a state agency or state government. It's basically, we're a not-for-profit membership organization whose mission it is to drive business to our member companies. So across New England, we have about 1,500 companies, businesses that are in what we define as the visitor industry. So restaurants, transportation companies, airlines, obviously hotels, museums, attractions, etc. So for us, special events are a key part of what attracts and drives people to any destination, and to the Boston, Cambridge area in particular. Special events play a big part. Some of you may have seen an article in this morning's Wall Street Journal, it was in USA Today, and it was scrolled across the various morning news shows about visitor spending, or spending in general, as it relates to even high income households, and how, in effect, spending in this environment when people don't know what the value of their home is, what's happening to their 401k, et cetera, has kind of tailed off. And basically, we just finished our national meeting of all the Convention and Visitors Bureau heads around the country. It was here in Boston this past weekend, and this wasn't news to us, we know this. And all of the survey work that we do shows that you need to provide, if you want to draw people to your destination, you need to, in these economic times, you need to provide an event that is compelling, that is a must-see, must-do event, that has excitement to it. And I could go on, but if you looked under the dictionary, under any of those terms, guess what you would find? You would find the Deutsche Bank event, because it hits all of those key points. And that's why the visitor spending that is related to this event has been so strong and so great. So I know 99% of the people would love to hear from Steve Strickland. Just want you to know, all the people in the visitor industry, this is the man, what Deutsche Bank has done for our visitor industry. And it comes at such a great time of year, because unlike the rest of you, we keep our own little calendar, and we define summer as, it starts on Memorial Day weekend and ends on Labor Day weekend. And I am the envy of every other CEO at a Convention and Visitors Bureau across the country, because we end the summer season and we propel into what is a strong season here in New England, the fall season, but we end with the Deutsche Bank Championship, which has provided, in the 7 years that it has been in our region, pretty dramatic economic impact and value to our community. So, as Eric said, we actually delved into the numbers to see what happened last year. And remember, last year was a time frame when, if people are holding on to their money these days in 2010, as the Wall Street Journal said today, you can imagine it was even more challenging in 2009. But it was over $61 million in value added to our region. And in our study, we defined the Boston region as the DMA, which is somewhat of a media term where the reach and the breadth of media goes, and they use it in terms of establishing advertising rates for our programs, et cetera. But it stretches from the tip of southern New Hampshire, so the Portsmouth area in Salem, New Hampshire, and swings around the Boston metro area and picks up into the tip of Providence, Rhode Island. So that's sort of our DMA, and that's where this economic impact analysis, the numbers were pulled from. So $61 million in spending. When it was first here in 2003, it was about 46 million, so it's more than, I'd say, a third increase in a time when there were some really tough economic times and people were holding on to their pocketbooks and their wallets. And yet, if you go back and look at the research data, why this event has been so successful for our visitor industry and for the golf world is simply because it is compelling, it is a must-see, it is a must-do. And how does that all happen? It starts with the sponsorships that the event attracts, with Deutsche Bank's commitment and the skill they bring to managing an event like this, a fabulous setting like this golf course, and as Brad pointed out, the improvements they make all the time, and the IMG team that is so good at what they do. And we in the visitor industry are the beneficiary of this particular event. So we usually do these studies after the fact, rather than kind of like throw a dot at a board and say, well, we think in 2010 it'll do X, Y, or Z. We actually then collect the data. We know the hotel room nights, the spending, the number of people that worked, the number of tickets that were sold, you know, on and on and on and on. And that's how you build the economic impact. And we do both the direct and indirect. So when you add it all together, it's about $61 million. It's more than $500,000 in new tax revenue. And let me tell you, if there was the tax collector for Norton or Boston or Cambridge sitting out of this audience, they'd have a smile, because there aren't a lot of things happening out there that are generating a lot of new tax revenue. So over the life of this event, more than $3 million in tax revenue. That's basically found money, new money. Without this event, that money would not be there. So we owe everybody that's involved in this, starting with Deutsche Bank and Seth and TPC and Eric and the team at IMG, a big thank you for what this all means to our visitor industry. If you looked at the economic impact over the period of the 7 years, it's $380 million. So there's a report that's here, has all the information. If you have any questions on how we do it, we've been doing this for years. We did 1999 with the Ryder Cup and the All-Star Game and the Women's Final Four in 2006. So we have pretty much have it down to a science now. So thank you, and thanks again, Seth, and to TPC.